Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's Greg here again with another update on the Buddy build between me and Paul on the Merkava Mk LIC. So on the last one I showed you I was going to start doing the update, the turret, as I did with the lower hull with the oils, and I'll show you how I started. But I've got that finished and I've added some extra bits and pieces to it, so we'll bring that in and we can have a look at that together. So at the moment we're at this point. You can see I've added the doghouse, the periscopes, the whatever these are, but it's a shame you can't really see them because I've got these grid covers, which is understandable because it's stop dust and stones flying into there and getting bright. And this one's the same. This I had to add from another kit because it wasn't on the kit I have, so I've added that. So the doghouse with the periscopes, that's the armoured glass one that I've done. Mixed a bit of armoured glass and a bit of the blue from Tamir to get there. Also done the hatch. I looked on the internet and by looking at the pictures they seem to be like an off-white as normal, so I've just damaged that up slightly because obviously in and out it's going to get chipped. And as you can see with the weathering again, I went back in with the that wash again and dirtied up around the hatches for people getting in and out, but that's going to have another light sand, like a last dust on there, obviously with a dusty environment. That's to come near the end. I've got canvas covers on. They aren't fastened on properly at the bottom yet because I've got the tow ropes to go underneath them yet, which is that and that and there. What else? Oh yeah, I've added some decals to the ammunition. I presume they're ammunition boxes. I had some ammunition decals, so I've just put them on there. And I've just added a dull coat on them at the moment, so it's maybe still not quite dry yet, but it's getting there. And again with the turret basket, that's nearly about done now. Just a bit of dust on top of that as well. Right, I think that's about it on the... Oh sorry, the smoke launchers. I put a cover on one and I've left one open. Again. Yeah, done now. So we're getting there bit by bit now. Obviously got the machine guns to go on there yet, but I'm going to leave them off till a bit near the end because normally I'll knock them off. And of course the aerials. So I'll just leave that to the side for now. What else? What else? I think that's it on the, on there. So I started doing the lower hull. I said started yesterday. Sorry, Friday, was it? Yeah, Friday. And I've got to this point at the moment. Let's just zoom in. Here's the metal tracks. Obviously I'm going to show you what I've done with them and how we're going to do. We'll start off with the lower hull. I've just used 2 pigments. That's all I needed to use, 2 pigments and a pigment fixer and some, where have I put them in? I'll get them in shortly. Spray as well. It's from Modeller's World, I think. As you can see, these are all dusted up. The sprocket has now got the metal look at the ends where it goes going in the tracks, and the teeth. You're not going to see a lot of this when the side skirt is on, but I'm keeping that one side skirt off so you can see what I've actually done. I just feel you need to do that. You know, some people would say, well, you're only going to see from there, I won't bother, but I tend to do it anyway, no matter how much you see. Yeah, it's going to be dusty, mucky, not so much mud, just dust and muck that accumulates. I know it does rain there and there's all sorts of weather, but this is sort of in a weather dry environment. So I'm going to show you how I've done this by turning it over. So this is a thing at Joe at Maggioni's Productions. You know, the tablet holder. Works perfectly, it really does. I think it's about £3.5. Brilliant. So we shall just turn this round You can see I've done some underneath as well. That isn't quite finished yet, but we've done some underneath. Built it up on there. So we'll just tip that on there. So we've got that position. I'm going to just bring it across. It's perfect, really. It's just a perfect thing to do for to do the weathering with. You say you're not handling it either, so which is pretty good. So all I've used pigment wise is I've used this, like I showed you earlier on. This is the Modeller's World Pigment Dirty Field Sand. Oops, sorry there. I don't know if there's a one number on it. It just says, yeah, just Dirty Field Sand. That's a pigment from Modeller's World. I think I got this from Scale Model Shop. I think it was Scale Model Shop where I got this from. So I'm using that. And I've cut up some of this this thing. I bought it this years, never hardly used it, but I've just cut up some bits of that and put it into the sand as well, so it gives you a bit of texture. So I've added some of that to the sand. I shall pop that away. Put it away for now. And what I've cut, obviously I've made a little batch before. I'm going to have to make another one later on, but this is enough for what we need to do now. So that's what I've got. Just some bits in there like that. And the goal on Earth. So I'm going to be rid of that, which is a MIG production, and it's MIG 3026. Ooh, which is there. And that's a darker one, because obviously down the lower hole you're going to get a bit more damper. Is that right? It gets a little damper down below. Obviously with the side skirts on, the moisture and things like that. So I'm going to just to represent that really. So that's a slightly different colour. So what I did to start with, we'll do it to start off with. Has to be very similar to the mine roller, but that mine roller has been used that many times on different vehicles, so it's a slightly different colour and there's a lot more weather and all that, more chips and things out of it. So what I'm going to start off with is, this is another AK product, which is Sand Yellow Deposits, and it's an AK 4061, and it's, yeah, give them a good shake because they're enamel. Like I say, that's the colour we're looking at. It doesn't dry as yellow as that, I should say. So let me just see if I can bring in. Right, I'm going to start with this if I can around here. So what I did, I'll just get these open first, because get myself organised. I'll just do a little bit by bit. So all I've done is I've just gone round underneath, got this on, doesn't matter where it goes, it just gives the pigment something to stick on to start off with. You'll need old brushes for that. You don't want to ruin your good brushes by using this. Then I got my, brush like so. It's all rubbished up and things, and it's perfect for pigments. You don't put a pile on, you just, I've told this was where I dab it in round the darker parts of the actual a bit more up the top there. So you're just covering what you've used with that stuff, the deposits. Right, and then just go over the top, just dip it with the other pigment with the grass in, and we'll just go mix that in. Doesn't matter about going on there, but obviously you should have really taped the for the wheels to go on, but I didn't bother on the other one, so and they've gone on quite nicely. Right, you can see, we shall see. Yeah, so we're going to get that sort of effect at the moment, obviously. So let's give it a little bit of time. So I'm going to leave that there just to dry a little bit with the underneath, and I'll probably go over with. I'll do it now. It's just a little bit of pigment fixer. I don't think any pigment fixer actually works, to be honest, because no matter how many times you pick it up and things like that, where's my brush gone? More brush again. They still come off. So just leave it on there. Start off and just let it watch it. And what I tend to do on this part here, because this is where obviously the sprocket's going to come from and all the off the track with dust, I put a little bit more just on here, because now I've got that pigment fixer on there as well, and just add a bit of grass on there as well. And we'll go back in again with the pigment fixer. Just go from the top and it should wick down, he says. As I say, you're not going to see a lot of this, and it's nothing different than anybody else would do. Maybe the colours might be slightly different, but that's basically it really. You just get it to how you want it more than anything else, how I would do it, how you would do it, and how much you want to do as well. On there. Right, so that's what we're going to start off with. Like I say, nothing different, no rocket science involved. It's just straightforward pigment work. I don't usually use a lot of pigments on my builds, but obviously with this you kind of need to with the dust. I know it can rain, it can snow, it can do everything, but I'm going to say in this sort of normal environment, which is the dusty environment. I don't want it to get too much inside the springs, so I'm going to highlight them with a bit of near the end is the where's it gone? Here's the washer cane, which is another AK product, which is for yellow, for a wash for dark yellow, which is AK 300, which I showed you last time. So I'll just go dab a little bit inside the springs to give it more of a shadow as well. So what I'll do now is, like I say, I'll just carry on. I'll just do another bit now, and then it's the right brush here it is. Plus this, you know, when it dries it's enamel, so you're going to get that dusty effect even if the pigments do come off, which they will to a certain degree, but you've got that other thing underneath now with the this enamel dust deposits. There again, you do it to your discretion and how much you want to put on or how less you want to put on. Okay, we'll start with the pigments again. Where's my brush? With the goal on earth. Work from the top if you can. And the pigments will work down. Like I say, you don't need a lot of pigment. You know, you just want that to represent dust and the different colours. So most of the light dirt will be towards the bottom. And what's more about the top, as you can see, you're not going to see a lot of the top of the work on there. But so that's what we're going to come up with. You know, it's not rocket science, it's fairly straightforward stuff, fairly, you know, nothing out of this world, but it suits my needs at the moment. So that's what I've done. So like I say, when we've got that part done, we now can go back in with the, is the brush I use? I think it is. The pigment fixer, and start again from the top and just let it wick down. That's better, it's wicking down a little better now. Try not to actually touch the pigment if possible, because obviously it'll come off on your brush. Right, so I'll leave this to dry. Once this is dry, once I've done along here, I'll get back to you and we'll go on to the next step. So this is Greg signing off, and we'll see you very soon. Right, we're back again. So this is dried now, so I'll zoom in and have a look what we've got. Let me see, let's push this slightly this way. There we go. So I'll zoom in a bit more. Okay, so that's what we've got, the effect of them two pigments and that dust deposit. It just, it's what I want. It's just a dust and a bit of loose, grass and normal debris from the desert, from all the roads that's over there and things. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spray them a very, very, very light coating of these weathering paints. This is going to be the Dirty Dust one, which is another from Modelling World, and it's weathering paint and it's Dirty Dust. It's really just a thin paint. Just give it a good shake. You can either put it with a brush or air. I'm going to use the airbrush. So what I'm going to do now is, and these things are brilliant because when you open them up you've got a dropper bottle, so you can take what you need out. We don't need a lot. It goes quite a long way, so you don't need to thin it. You can thin it if you want it even thinner. You can put thinners into it. Oh, these water based. I think these are water based. Acrylic, yeah, these are acrylic, so you can use water or X20 or something or whatever. Right, so I haven't got much in. So all I'm going to do, I'll come over here with now. I'm just going to, from a distance, from a right good distance, is obviously get all that. It's just a quick like so. So we'll take the rest of that out now, put it back in the bottle. What I'll do is I'll just use it up underneath this side here for now. And then that basket burn underneath. Just to use it up, because I have done the bottom as well, so maybe I'll just use it on here. So it'll help the pigments fix as well. And that's it. So, like I say, you don't need a lot. Just painting with a thinner basically, with a filter. So now I'm going to finish it off with another one of these weathering paints, and this is acrylic, and this is Sandy Dust, again from the Modeller's World stuff. So I just thought to give them a try. So I've used them, and they seem to be quite good to use. And say, with this, having this dropper bottle is really good. You can just take it, So let's just move it back to where we were. And again, we shall just lightly spray it. And with being acrylic, they don't take long to dry. It just helps stick the pigments on as well. So I think that will do. So what we'll do now is we'll just leave that to dry, and then we'll go back in with just a little bits and pieces. I'm going to deafen it more with the springs, just to bring them out a little bit once this is dry, and then we'll be ready for the wheels. I think. I don't think there's anything else needed on there now. fairly simple, but you get a nice effect in the end. So let's leave that to dry, and when it's dry I'll come back and we'll go on, we'll carry on. So back in a bit. Right, as you can see now this is dried, and you've got, I'll zoom in again and we'll see the colour a lot better. Let's just give it that sort of dustier look if that's possible. It's worked out quite well with them weathering paints. They're really quite nice to use. Okay, so all I'm going to do, I've started off I nearly carried on what I'm doing. You can just see where I've just highlighted this. You're not going to see a lot of it. Just highlighted like where the it might be grease or oil or something along those lines. Even though you're not going to see it, it's practice, as I call it, for doing things. So I've just touched it with the the AK, the dark yellow again, the AK 300, which is this stuff, dark yellow stuff. I don't need a lot. It's just to give it a sort of hint that there's something on there. I've done this little bit here. I've done that, and then again, what I did is I just sort of drop a bit in between some of the actual springs. Again, you're not going to see a lot of this because of the wheels on the side skirts. Just work out for different ideas for future builds, and you think, well, that work okay, I'll try that on this other build but it's got no side skirts. Oh, it's the way I look at things sometimes. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, back to the drawing board. It's just to give a little bit of emphasis on the springs, really. You don't have to go right round with them. Right, I think that's enough on there. So what we'll do now is I'll clean my brush, put that away, and then we can add the wheels. So I'll just go off and add the wheels, and then we'll be back for the next part. So see you in a bit. Right, we're back. I've got the wheels on now. I nearly forgot again, but I started putting the pigments on again, just on the wheels. Done those two and started on the idler wheel. But we'll show you, it's easy, everybody does this. It's just that mixed sand again with the grass things through it, and basically I'm just not positioning it to a certain extent, but a bit less on these wheels with being dust. Just carry on doing that. A lot of this is going to be hidden by the side skirt, so a lot of the wheel you won't see. Probably see maybe that part of the wheel, something like that. So there's no point in going all the way around, I don't think. So and a bit in the sprocket wheel. Right, let's zoom in and see better. It's a bit better than. Okay. Right, you can see what I've done. It's nothing startling. So I'm just now going to use the pigment fixer to fix it. And once this is dry, we'll come back and we'll do the next part. So I'm having to do this first, the hull, because once I get the side skirt and the upper hull on, which is the side skirts are fastened to, there'll be no room to put the tracks on if I put the top on. So that's why I'm completely doing the lower hull first, before and then I can place the upper hull on top of it and go from there, basically. Losing all the little bolts come off the back, I'll have to glue them all back on. So once these are dry, we'll come back and then we'll just go back through and do the next part, which is basically going to highlight some of the, maybe a bit of wash on the couple on the bolts, things like that in the centre, maybe a bit of like representing oil or grease or something like that, just spilling out slightly from the hub in the centre, and that's really about it on here. So we'll let this dry and then we'll come back and we'll do the little like pin wash with the normal stuff that we've been using. That's what we'll do. Well, I can show on actually on the front wheels there. It's going to be a bit difficult, but we can have a go. A little fine brush will do. That'll do. We'll just do a little bit on one of these wheels. Give it a good shake. You don't need a lot. No, do one here. Remember, it won't dry as maybe a couple of the bolts just on the tops, not all of them. Right, I'll do these other bits when we come back, when it's dry, and then once I've done all that, when it's dry, I've done them little bits around there, we'll go to the next part, which is a bit of the old splattering. Right, so we'll leave that to dry and we'll go back from there and we'll see what it looks like when it's all dry. So, see you in about 5 or 10 minutes. Well, for me anyhow, but for you it'll be instantly usually. So I'll see you in a bit. Right, we're back again. These are dried now, so we'll zoom in again into there, and you can see they've dried quite nicely. So what we need to do now, because the wheels are quite clean, aren't they, the actual tyres, so we're going to use these modelling paints again. Sorry, weathering paints again. We're going to use the dirty dust to start with. There again, you just pop it in your airbrush. You don't need a lot. And again, you got the pipette in there, so you can take what you need. That should be plenty. And from an angle, again, let's just go along the tops of the tyres. Turn it round this way. Excuse me, just 2 minutes while I turn this round this other way. See again, and we'll just. Plus it'll help the pigment stick a bit more as well. Right, and then we can, you don't have to clean out the airbrush. We go straight on to the next colour, which is that sand colour, sorry, which is the sandy dust. And we'll just do the same again. Just take some out of it with the pipette, and that's it. More than enough. And again, with the light dusting, you know, from a distance, as you can see, you just, I'll turn around again and do this side. I'm just going to go and do the bottom of the baskets as well, and then need a bit doing. Right. So that is it as far as the lower running gear is concerned for now anyhow. So we've got to that stage, okay? So what we're going to do next is we're going to start the tracks, which are here. So let me just move this out of the way. Let's just move this out of the way for now. And so these are the frill tracks that didn't see me do, but these I've given them a light coat of just basically what I did, all the cleaning of the brushes from all the sand and things like that, is I just use that just to just use it up basically. It's got quite a nice little effect on it. So what we're going to do now is same again, nothing any different to anybody else. If I can find my stuff. There we go. We've got the Golan Heights again, sorry, Golan Heights, Golan Earth, and the sand yellow deposits, and same again with the you know, the dirty sand with the grass in. And this is fairly straightforward. Just get yourself a decent old brush, because you're gonna. Let me start from this side. Let's zoom in. I said. Right. Let me just bring this tractor here. There we go. So we'll use this up again on here. So with the instead of using the dirty sand deposits, use all this excess stuff. We'll do the reverse first. I think it'll be easier to do the reverse. So we'll just dabbing all that on. Do it in stages, so it's all nice and wet, and get some of the Golan. And again, just dot it over. Doesn't have to be all perfect. And then get a bit of a light one. And again, try and get some in between the threads. If you well, it will go in, just to it looks really dark at the moment, but I can assure you when it dries, it works perfectly fine. So just carry on with that again. Just doesn't matter now, but it's changed colour with having the pigments on it. Start again with the Golan, and just stipple away until your heart's content. Again, try and get the lighter stuff on the edges and the darker stuff more in the middle. So it doesn't represent damp earth, but just a slight different colour variation. So as you can see, it's quite dark at the moment. Whoop, I'm going to zoom in. But when that dries, it looks totally different. So when I've done the rest of this track, we'll come back again and we'll see how it's done, and then we'll move on to the next step. So back in a bit. Right, we're back again. You can see most of it's dry now. You can see the colour change. See back of my hand maybe behind it. Where we are. See the colour change now. So what we need to do now is, I've done on this side, is, and it's come away a little bit, is just to cover where the wheels are gonna rub onto the tracks. I thought it had stuck down better than that, but obviously not. Let's just repin it. Give me a second. And we're just going to repeat, but not as heavy on this, on the inside. Let me just get this right down there. Come on. There we go. No, we don't. Right, let's just go from here then, like we did last time. And again, we've got a little bit of that left, but we're mainly going to put the lighter stuff on. Should just have enough to have to do some more. So again, I'm going to use this little brush just to brush on there. And again, just the same again, but not as heavy. You can take some off. And again, so it's just a repeat of what I did on the outside, but not as heavy. sorry, can you still see? Yeah. La-dee-dee-dee. Waste not, want not, as they say. I remember when I first got back into modelling, I did a sailing ship, and I left all the crap in the bottom of the thinners, and what I used it for was to I gave the sails a nice grey wash, and it worked perfectly on the sails. Give you that nice definition. Well, I thought it did. It was my first kit back from 30 years of modelling, so it worked quite well. Quite pleased with it. Should really build another sailing ship at some point. Right, so I'll carry on with this, and when it's dried we'll get back and then we can go again for the next part. So we're back in a minute. Right, we're back again now. Let's zoom in again. And you can see it's starting to dry. It isn't fully dry yet, but it's starting to dry. Oop, I don't want to lift them off, do we, at the moment. Yeah, so we've got those like so. So what we're going to do is similar to what we did with the well, it's similar, it's the same, isn't it? Is use these weathered paints again. Where we go? There we go. The sandy dust and the dirty dust. We'll start with this dirty dust first. Okay, just give it a shake. They're acrylic, so you can sort them out with water to a certain degree. But, that's all this will all fly up. Let's just, yeah, there we go. Yes. Let's put the other stuff on the other side. It's the only thing with bloody pigments to get everywhere, don't we? Okay. And again. And leave that to dry, and then I'll do the opposite to do on the other side as well. Well, I think now it's going to take a long time to dry. I'll just use this up first. Let's go back to the dirty one again. It just gives you a different shade, you know, you've got the shades, it's all sorts of different, if it's soil or dirt or dust isn't all the same colour. Just give that a little bit of variation. That's it, perfect. I need a lot, so we'll leave these to dry now. I'll just put those out of there, out the way. We'll leave these to dry again. It shouldn't take too long, we don't want it being acrylic. And then we'll start putting the taking the tape off the back, and we'll start putting the steel effect down on the for the road wheels to go on, and on obviously got two options. Options I chose another metal tracks, but I used the pigment powder that I've got instead of a tracks silver. So and the the graphite stick for the wheels. So once that's dry, we'll come back and we'll carry on with that. Right, back again. I've jumped ahead slightly. Finished the tracks. I didn't show you, doing the graphite pencil and things like that. As you can see, I've got the lower hole and the upper all together now. And if we have a look at the tracks, I won't lift it off there. We've got, let's see, a lot of it is hidden, but we'll go around the other side and we'll see. The mudguards are slightly covered and you can maybe just see them underneath there. And obviously that's why I left that side skirt off, so we can see what's going ahead underneath there. So that's the tracks and the lower hull. Not quite fit. The lower hull isn't quite finished yet. I've got a few scratches to put along the mudguards, and obviously some dust coming up from the wheels as well. Obviously I've got a bit of work to do on top of there. But this is the end of update 5, I think, or 5 or 6 with the lower hull. So we'll start off with the on the next update will be for the top hull, and the turret. Yeah, so it's getting there now. So I'm going away for a few days. I'm going to see my son in Scotland, so for 3 or 4 days, so there'll be no updates. There won't be any work at the bench, obviously, so it might be a bit of a delay before the next update. So I'd like to thank all my subscribers, new and old, for keeping up with me and giving me some fantastic comments. And you can see I've started answering them for a change, which is unusual for me, but I'll try and keep it up. So this is Greg signing off, and we shall see you very, very soon.